Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Parlor podcast. This has been an idea to do for so long. If you don't know me, my name is Emma Willett, and I like to call myself, I don't know whether I like to call myself this or not, but it's just something that I feel like is quite a fitting name for what I do and what I've always been, is I'm basically a beauty guinea pig. When I say beauty guinea pig, it's because I have worked within the beauty industry for around, I would say about 15 years. 15, probably more than that actually. And I've done various roles within the beauty industry, but the main thing I've always done is beauty journalism and beauty marketing. And with those roles, you are literally trialing and testing makeup products, skincare products, hair products, health, wellness. You were trialing and testing and giving honest opinions to everybody out there, whether that's consumers or readers, whatever industry, whatever type of work it's kind of fitted in. So I have always been everybody's beauty guinea pig. And it's one of those where over the years, I genuinely feel like I have accumulated that much information and education over time that it's become apparent that I've really needed a platform to share everything. You know, all the advice that I get from meeting amazing dermatologists, trichologists, skin doctors, cosmetic doctors, there's so many educated and really impressive people out there that I am so lucky to get to work with. But it's like I speak to them every day and I work with them. And then it's like I want to bottle up everything that they tell me and get it out to everybody. Can I do that on social media all the time? I try my best. But really, I want to be bringing these fantastic guests onto the Parlor podcast. And the main thing is so that you guys can learn. And that's what has brought me here today to launch the Parlor podcast. So thank you for tuning in. This is the very first episode. And this episode is me doing a little solo, but I can guarantee that every episode, there might be the occasional, like maybe the odd solo, but I'm going to be bringing you the best guests where you are going to go away and learn. And I think that is what I've noticed is a little bit of like a gap and a bit of a problem right now out there with the whole beauty industry. So I, for one, love podcasts, not necessarily always about beauty and skincare and health, because I do find there's not actually like that many. But I listen to business podcasts and all sorts of different types of podcasts about life and, health, well-being, etc. And sometimes I really enjoy the podcast. And it's been listening to somebody's journey or like just literally learning about how someone has got to where they are today. But at the end of it, I sometimes think I haven't learned anything. Like I go away and I don't really think about it again. So with things like skin, skin concerns, there's so many of us that are like really invested in like anti-aging, acne, psoriasis, eczema, but they're not forgetting, concerns such as hair loss. There's all like the whole well-being and our inner health. Sometimes we just don't learn. We're not learning enough. And this is the whole ethos of this podcast. You are going to learn, and you're going to learn from the top people. Me, myself, I am what I've always said just before. I'm a beauty guinea pig. I trial and test. I have spent hundreds of pounds on products, and then I have spent pittance on products. And I sift through, and I work with experts. I work with brand teams. There is so much that I have done that I feel like I come from a place of experience and honesty. But at the end of the day, it is always the opinions of me as a beauty writer and someone who's worked in beauty marketing and within the beauty industry for a long time. This is where if we combine this like honest, relatable, ordinary beauty interest girl with your top dermatologist, your top trichologist, your cosmetic dentist, your cosmetic doctors, the ones who can really nail everything about all the skin concerns out there, really hack into your skin type and what you need to do, what you don't need to do, the skin treatments out there, because let's face it, there's everything now. There's like a plethora of skin treatments that people can have. Microneedling, peels, everyone's getting injectable this, they're getting skin boosters. I'm hearing about people that look absolutely amazing, and then I hear that they've had like a 90 grand facelift, and no one's talking about that. No one's talking about what they're having. But we're just not educated enough to know what actually should we be doing. What can we be doing that saves us going down some of those routes? And this is where the experts are really going to come in handy. So honestly, that's the one promise that I'm making to you for launching this Parlor podcast. You are going to learn. So let's talk about first how overwhelming the beauty industry is, because my God, it is literally just one big overwhelming experience and situation, right? I'm sure everybody has the same thoughts about that. We are marketed to constantly. We are marketed to day in, day out. And that's every time we go on social media and scroll, every time we walk into a storefront, every time we browse an online retailer, every time we are listening to our favorite influencer or celebrity, we are constantly marketed to. And it's easy now in this day and age to be, really confused about, should I be trusting this? Should I be spending money on this? Should I not? And this is where it just needs simplifying a little bit. We need more education and information on what routes we should actually be going down. I understand that it is so overwhelming, and hopefully if you stay tuned and join this Parlor community, stay with us, we're going to guide you, we're going to get you on the right path and hopefully ease the overwhelm. So I'm guessing that there's a lot of people that will be listening to this who actually don't know me or haven't followed me before. So I am at by Emma Willett on Instagram. And I do share a little bit of beauty, skincare. Well, I say a little bit. I'm always talking about it at some point. But I also mix it with a little bit of motherhood because I am a mum of two. My kids are 5 and 3. They are an absolute handful, lovable handful. But life for me is quite chaotic with both of them. So I combine my Instagram sharing about like my totally chaotic family life, but my extreme passion and work within the beauty industry. I open it up for people to ask me questions about skincare, skin concerns, skin types and treatments, hair concerns, and then obviously going down the little bit of like the health and wellness sector too. I open it up all the time for people to ask me questions, and I often put them forward to some of the brilliant experts that I get to meet daily. But there has been a bit of a pattern with the same type of questions that people are always asking me. And one of the key ones is ingredients. And I think there's been such a rise recently in brands like The Ordinary and the Inkey List, who are showcasing that you can buy products that are heavily focused on a key ingredient. You can buy them at a lower price. So it's kind of like this marketing message where like, don't buy from these really top like medical grade skincare brands or like the really expensive ones. You can just buy these lower priced ingredient focused ones. You can get your salicylic acid, you can get your glycolic acid, you can get your lactic acid, and it's all well and good. And like, believe me, I actually like these brands. I will, I'll always say on this podcast, I'll be totally honest. And some of it is just purely down to opinion. We are not the same people. We will have different skin and different concerns. We will all react differently. But in general, I am a fan of brands like the Inkey List and The Ordinary because I feel like they do give us a gateway that is a little bit cheaper and we can access these type of products. However, what I will say is that we are given these products that are so ingredient focused, but we're missing like a bit of learning and like the science behind it. I feel like, again, we're marketed as to like, you need glycolic acid because if you've got pigmentation, if you've got fine lines and wrinkles, if you've got an uneven skin texture, this is going to solve it. And look, we sell it at this percent. It's a really high percent, but it's literally like £5. And people buy it, but they're then missing other elements such as, is this actually going to wreck my skin barrier in time? Is this going to weaken my skin and bring on more sensitivity? And then I'm going to start developing things like, skin sensitivity and rosacea. Am I going to be causing more of like brown marks because this product has not agreed with me? Am I going to use so much salicylic acid that it's going to treat my acne, but then I'm going to be literally peeling and have dry skin? There's so much that we need to consider. And whereas I love those type of brands for making ingredients and the quality of the ingredients accessible, we're kind of overwhelmed again because we don't actually know what we should be doing. What I will be talking about in this podcast, and occasionally I will bring brands on board, but I will be very selective about the brands that I do bring on board because they've got to have something that you can take away and learn. We're not going to be marketed to. It's not going to be this highly promotional thing where we're saying, we've got this brand on today and their products are absolutely amazing. You need to buy them. Like, that is not the type of podcast that this is going to be. But what I will be doing is bringing products from different brands, and I'll be sitting down with experts and I'm going to be asking them for their honest opinion on certain products. What do you think of this? Read the ingredients on this. who should be using this product, who realistically is going to get results out of this one, because we're all different and we're not all going to get the same benefit. And one thing I will tell you, and again, it's personally my opinion, but it's my opinion that comes from quite a lot of years of research, is I don't think anybody should be paying the price of creme de la mer. I just don't. I don't think anybody should be paying the type of money for creme de la mer products. There, I said it. Honestly, if you want my advice, that money that you would pay for their creams, please put it to good use somewhere else. Now, that's not me saying that if a product is over £100, you should turn away and not buy it. Let me tell you one thing. I have just parted with £120 on a new Abaji skin serum. I know. I am someone that does not spend that type of money on a skin product. Skin treatments, yes. I've had treatments that have cost me so much money before for my skin. But would I have ever thought that I was going to buy products that are sat over the £100 mark? No, because I've had such good results with ones that haven't cost that. However, when you come across something good, sometimes they are expensive because they really have the ingredients in the right quantities that have kind of made it like that. Do I agree that a product should be £120? No. But have I seen results from it? Yes. And then it's kind of got me in. This is where we're at with beauty. It's all over the place. So obviously I have mentioned a few times that this is my first solo episode. And although we don't have a guest on today, I'm going to give you some key takeaways in this episode that hopefully after you've listened, you've learned something. And it might not be the type of information you was thinking, oh yeah, I've come on this podcast today to listen to and I wanted to learn about that. But as I say, that is the promise in every episode. You're going to go away learning something. So before I came here today to film, I actually put out on my Instagram, I went over onto @byEmmaWillett. I also have at parlorbeauty.co.uk. Parlor is spelled PARLOR. It's a bit more like the American spelling. I actually put some stories out there saying I'm going to address some topics. I'm filming something like quite excited. I didn't actually say what it was, but I'm going to address some topics that people, need a bit of help with. Put your questions forward. And honestly, every single time I do this, people always come forward about the same topics. So I'm going to touch on them now, but I'm going to do it top level because we actually have an amazing GP skin doctor who's going to come in and answer one of them so intelligently and tell you everything. So I'm literally just going to touch on it on top level. And the same with a brilliant trichologist. She will be sharing everything about hair loss. She's a hair loss expert, but not even just hair loss, like hair health, everything to do with your hair and your scalp. So I'm just going to be touching on them a little bit, but hopefully you're going to learn something still. So hair loss. This is probably the topic that I get asked about. I'd say a good few times a week, people are asking me for my recommendations, and so much so that I actually had to put a post on my Instagram rounding up everything I have done to slow down my hair loss and try and get the thickest hair of my life. Because believe me, my hair has been thin my whole life. I am just a thin-haired girl. I always have been. I have gone through hair loss personally 3 times in my life, and I'm finding year after year after year, so many other people are going through hair loss, and it is the most painful, traumatic thing for a girl to go through, and I'm sure for guys as well. But I know as a girl, your hair is like your security blanket, and when we go through stages of hair loss, it is just horrific. It is traumatic and awful. I have spent years digging deep into the hair loss world, the problems, the causes, the treatments, because it's something that absolutely fascinates me. Obviously in a negative way. I hate that I've had to go through it, and I hate it when other people are going through it. But I find that it's something that people are really needing to learn about, and it's so confusing out there. And the first thing I will say is that there is actually 2 types. So there's probably more than 2 types, but let's simplify it in this episode. Whilst we don't have our trichologist here, let's simplify it. The main 2 types I see it is you've got your temporary hair loss, which can last up to 6 months. And then you've got what is classed really as more of a chronic hair loss. Now, the first one that I mentioned, that can be something that has quite a fast onset. So all of a sudden you were noticing it. Hang on, I'm touching my hair and handfuls are coming out. I'm in the shower, whoa, I'm clogging up here. There's literally loads falling out. And it can last from, it can come on fast, and it can stop just as fast as it's come on. And maybe it lasts between 1 to 6 months. More of a chronic hair loss is when people have had thinning hair for a long while. It's came on very slowly. You've all of a sudden, like, you've noticed it's been creeping up, and then you're like, okay, I've been losing hair for a long time, and it's never like an alarming amount, but you've noticed that your hair has thinned. And this could have been going on for longer than 6 months. When that happens, that does tend to be more like a long-term chronic hair loss, and that is the one that can be closely related to something internal going on, like imbalances, or, you're very low or deficient on something, or it could be the start of the hair conditions like alopecia. There is so many, and I am going to leave this to the trichologist to share, but I'm just trying to differentiate that there are 2 different types. Possibly more, but let's break it down to the 2 different types. And I think the majority that people contact me where they're worried about it, they tend to sit in the first one where they have had this onset of hair loss and it has really scared them. Now, this is called telogen effluvium, and honestly, it really riles me when hairdressers haven't heard of it. Like, you are dealing with hair day in, day out. It is a common hair issue, a common condition with the scalp and the hair health. I think I've only met like 2 hairdressers that I've ever heard of it. The most common way of being familiar with it is after you have a baby. Telogen effluvium it lasts usually anywhere around 2 to 6 months, and it comes on normally around 3 months after a stress or trauma to the body. So having a baby is your number one. That's like, yes, postpartum hair loss, it's always telogen effluvium. But again, people aren't really that educated about it or told, and they're just like, oh my God, I'm losing all my hair. This is not going to stop, and I'm going to be bald. The great news about, I'm going to call it TE because otherwise telogen effluvium is quite a bit of a mouthful. So the good news about TE is that it's reversible and it stops, but it doesn't feel any better when you're actually in that situation and you're losing hair all the time. And, you'll notice it here, like your hairline literally like reclines, and you can see recedes, that's probably the best word. You can see like little patches and things here, and just the whole volume, like the density of your hair, it drastically, when I've had it, I reckon I've lost like 40-50% before. And it comes in different degrees. Some people lose a lot, but the good news is, as I mentioned before, it does stop and it's reversible. Now, anyone that has TE, you have to remove the stressor. Once the trauma and the stressor to the body is removed, TE won't last longer than 6 months, or shouldn't do anyway. Maybe it might last a month or 2 more, but it should taper off, and then it can stop as fast as it came on. Now, I think what people don't realise is TE can get brought on by weight loss, working out all the time, putting that stress on your body that you're not always aware of. And more people now are going on the weight loss jabs, and more people are experiencing TE because they have rapidly lost weight. There was a time in my life when I went on what I called an acne diet, where I removed sugar and dairy from my diet because I was so desperate to clear my skin. And yes, it did work. And that is, again, for another episode. We're going to have an acne specialist, and we're going to literally go through everything to do with acne. Honestly, it would probably be about 2 hours long because there is so much to unpack about acne. But anyway, I've suffered from acne my whole life. And there was a time when I went on this acne diet. Anyway, I went underweight and I was going to the gym every day. I didn't have kids. That was my hobby. And my body weight was low, but at the time I didn't really realize it because I felt great. And that was the first time I got TE, and I knew nothing about it. So I thought, I've got alopecia. I've literally got alopecia. I was 27, 28, and I didn't. I had TE, and I saw a private dermatologist in Australia because I was living there at the time. She dismissed that it would be a stressor like low body weight or anything like that. And she just said, it'll be because you've moved to another country and it's all new and you've probably got really stressed out. I was like, oh my God, lady, like I am the most chilled I have ever been. I am not stressed out. And I just knew there was more to it than what she was saying. Dermatologists can do a test with your scalp. They can do a test that determines whether you have TE or not. They do a simple hair pull, and it's the method they do it, the way they can do it, they can tell if you have TE or not. And if you do, it tends to be good news because you know it's going to stop, but you have to figure out what started it. And like I said, it can be childbirth and labour. It can be something like losing weight drastically or being underweight. It can also be gaining weight. It can be having an operation, or it can be the definition of stress. When you are highly, highly stressed, your nervous system is absolutely maxed out. You are so anxious. If you are going through one of those hard periods and you are so stressed, that can also be the onset of TE. And it's so much easier for me to say, remove that stress. It's not always that easy for people. That tends to be the first cure for TE. So it's always the first thing to look at is as to why you might have it. Secondly, if you're low on iron, no amount of hair loss products or seeing a dermatologist or trichologist, nothing else will help you unless you get your iron levels sorted. A simple blood test will check your iron, it will check your thyroid, it will check your hormones. Those two can also play into your hair loss too. So if you can, and say, for example, if your hair loss has been going on for 6 months or longer, it is so worth having a full blood test to see if there's something going on. More often than not, it can get fixed. It could be something that you just need to find out what it is, you address it, and then the right treatments can come in place. And then eventually, once that's fixed, you can then treat the hair loss and it will reduce and stop, hopefully. Again, hair loss is this huge topic that so much feeds into it. There's not just one straight answer for everyone. And that's why I'm really excited to get some trichologists on this podcast, because they're going to go into everything in so much more detail. But one thing I will say is that I honestly believe there is not a shampoo out there that is going to stop your hair fall and all of a sudden grow you loads of thick, lustrous hair. There's just not. And I don't care what the marketing says. If there's all this marketing with like hair loss shampoo, it stops your hair loss, it'll grow fuller, dense hair. No, a shampoo alone is not going to do that. But what I will say is that there are shampoos and, hair loss brands that can definitely help. And I think there's an emphasis on help. So cleansing the scalp in general, like every 2 days, is so much better than leaving hair loss to like wash on the 4th or 5th day of the week. Honestly, the hair's, if it's going to fall, it's going to fall. And it'll just sit in your scalp. And then when you wash more, it's going to look like there's more there. By regularly cleansing, you're actually just getting rid of the hair that's going to fall anyway. But the best thing about that is that if you're struggling with hair growth, if your hair regrowth is really slow, or you want to, you want to be maximizing the best hair growth for yourself, you've got to start with the scalp. The scalp has got to be a clean environment for the hair to thrive. If you've got an oily scalp, the oils are going to be clogging up the hair follicles. If you've got a dry scalp, the dry skin is going to be flaking off, and that's going to be getting in the way of it as well. It's all going to be causing like the not the best environment for hair growth. There are shampoo systems like Nioxin, and they do, they have got very intelligent ingredients. They've got these technologies in them that are meant to reduce hair fall and grow hair faster. Can they do that? There's a lot of people out there that say they can. There's loads of good results. I, for one, use the Nioxin system. I did find that my hair fall started to reduce, even though I don't believe the shampoo itself stopped the hair loss. I think it was slowing up anyway. And I think it just maybe helped speed up the slowing down. And because you're then, basically your hair is then in a state, it goes around cycles. And again, the trichologist will explain this, but it goes in cycles. So you're ready then for your regrowth. And I think certain shampoo systems like Nioxin do help speed up the growth. However, it worked successfully for me twice. And on my 3rd case of TE, it actually did nada for me. So it just depends. Like, I don't want to say use that and it will work, but it did for me at one point and then it didn't for me again. I do like to use a range called Nanogen. And Nanogen doesn't promise to deliver a full, thicker head of hair. What it basically does is it plumps up what you've got. It literally swells the hair up and volumizes it. So whilst you're going through that stage of regrowth, your actual hair looks fuller and thicker. And then there's supplements. Supplements have so much to answer for. And it depends on you as an individual. You might need a certain supplement that you're really going to see the difference with. And what I'm going to talk about really quickly, I'm just going to touch on biotin. Biotin, like, I do swear by biotin, and I think in general the beauty industry does, but there is some people that just say, it's don't pin all your hopes on it. And that's fine. That makes sense. I get it. What I found biotin does from experience and from speaking to hundreds of other women that have used it, what it does is it speeds up the hair growth. So if you're looking to grow your hair, biotin is great. It will also do the same to your nails. What it won't do is, if you've got hair loss and thinning hair, it's not going to stop the hair fall. It's just going to speed up the regrowth, which, if you're tapering off on the hair loss situation, biotin is brilliant for you. But it comes with a warning. If you are prone to acne, biotin will aggravate your acne, but it doesn't happen to everybody. I am prone to acne. And again, honestly, I can't wait to do the acne episode on this podcast, because I have suffered from acne for, oh my God, I want to say about more than 20 years. I've been affected for about 25 years of my life. And when I say acne took away a big bulk of my life, I mean it took away a big bulk of my life. But again, that's for another episode. When I take biotin, I do notice an increase in my acne. It does activate it again. It doesn't do it to everybody. I find that I am one of the minorities. So I'd say the positives of biotin outweigh the negatives, but do approach it with caution. It's not a miracle supplement. If you are an acne sufferer, it really might not work in your favor. But, we're going to go into it in more detail, but it's definitely one to have on your radar. Vitamin D is a bit obscure to be linked to hair loss and hair growth. It's definitely one that we're going to explore on this pod, because there's a lot of positives linked to hair loss and vitamin D. And zinc too is also a great one, and zinc is brilliant for skin. But again, we're going to go into that in much more detail when we do the dedicated episodes. The next question that I get asked a lot, and I just touched on it then, because we're going to explore everything. Because everybody's got to be helped with acne. There's so much to it that people just don't know. There's so much learning that I still have with acne. But basically, people say to me, I'm in my late 30s, I'm turning 40, I've had acne my whole life. Why is it always on and off? Or sometimes I'll get people saying, I've never had a spot in my life. I hit 28, 29, 30, and all of a sudden I've got adult acne. Acne is just this whole crazy, bizarre world. Like I said before, I do believe that acne has stole a massive proportion of my life. During my personal journey, I have worked alongside a lot of acne doctors and a lot of acne brands. I have been trained up by a lot of big acne brands and different treatments for acne. So I'm just going to touch on some key points that I think are worth taking away in today's episode. Number one, I will never advocate for it, but I did take the contraceptive pill for a long time, and it masked my acne symptoms and it let me live my life the way that I wanted to live it. However, I never recommend it to anybody because it has so many flaws and health scares to it. It's actually brought on a health scare to me, which I'll talk about in another episode. And yeah, I'm not here to advocate for it, but this podcast is all about honesty. So I want to be honest with what gave me quite a clear bulk of a few years, basically. Salicylic acid has also been a really key ingredient in my acne journey. It's a funny one. It works for a certain amount of time. Then I get to a point where it's like wrecked my skin a little bit, or it's been a bit too strong, or it's stopped working. Then I've needed to combine it with things. I'm hit and miss with it. It's an ingredient that I always recommend for acne, but I don't think it's like the holy grail. But it is a good ingredient to have on your radar. Hormones play a massive part, and this is where we're going to dive deep with a hormone specialist. We're going to get to the bottom of what you need to know about your hormones, because I believe that that's the reason I've always had it. And some people, some girls have higher testosterone levels. I, for one, I've definitely sat in that category, and that's probably why I've always struggled. Bloods and hormones are just so key for people that have acne these days. And again, it was never put on the radar when I was younger. Roaccutane was something that was put on the radar, possibly when I was like 20 years old, maybe a little bit younger. And I'm going to be totally honest here, because that's what this podcast is about. I wonder how many times I'll say that throughout these episodes. Like, I'm going to be honest, because that's what it's about, but it's true. I do wish I had gone on Roaccutane, knowing what I know now, because I'm 39 now, and I look back at the last 19 years, and acne never really went away. Had I known that at age 20 or 19, whenever I was offered Roaccutane, if I'd saw that that was going to be my future, I would have done it. But I thought, this could clear up in 2 or 3 years. I don't need to go down this route. And you know what? It's got so many red flags. It is such a health warning. But yeah, it's for some people, it's helped. And I don't really, again, I'm going to leave this to a GP. I just talk from opinion. But I do wish I had tried it knowing how chronic my acne was and how it never cleared and how it ruined my life. Maybe it would have been a route to have gone down. But I was too scared of the side effects. Maybe I'd still be like that now, actually. But anyway, just wanted to touch on that. That is something that we will talk about on this podcast, and we will highlight the highs and the lows. I think the main thing to be aware of is that in today's world, technology and education and information is so much more advanced now than it ever was. There are skincare regimes out there that are designed to they're just designed to work so well with acne now, and they're so advanced from what they were like 5 years ago, and definitely from what they were 10 years ago. You know, you've got your Dermalux, you've got your red light systems, your LEDs, and they actually work really well for rosacea. And honestly, I cannot wait to get our cosmetic doctor coming on the show, because she has got absolutely mind-blowing stats and facts about rosacea. Like, it blew my mind. Literally, she told me that everybody has mites that are on their skin, and people that have rosacea, they have like 15 times of this mite. And she told me about what this mite does, and that's one of the leading ways people have rosacea, and it leads to like how you can fix it. There's certain treatments because of this mite. And I was like, like, I didn't even know we all had mites. On that point as well, we actually all have mites on our scalp. Very, very, very tiny, microscopic mites. And again, I'm going to get that addressed, because some people have more of this mite. I know it's vile, isn't it? It's absolutely gross. But yeah, stay tuned and we'll be touching on that more. But yeah, as I said at the start of this podcast, every single episode, the one promise I make is that you're going to learn something. It's all about learning, because there's far too much entertainment out there. And let's face it, entertainment is great. But when we're dealing with things like acne, hair loss, eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, problems with our health, our skin concerns and skin types, it's not that entertaining when you're living with them on a daily basis. And we need to learn. We just need to learn. We need to take things away that we can actually put into practice that are really, really useful. And that is what Parlor is here to do. So because I'm a solo episode today, I'm just going to give you some quick takeaways so you can go, you know what, I've learned from that one. And the first one I'm going to say is always spend less on your cleanser than any other product you own. Now, that doesn't mean just get one that's filled with absolute crap, or just use, something that's like rubbish. But your cleanser doesn't need to be expensive. I can't rave enough about CeraVe. Like, you just have to find the right CeraVe cleanser for your skin type. And that brings me on to the next quickfire takeaway. And it's also kind of what I would say a little bit of homework. So this is going to be a bit of homework for you today. What I want you all to do is I want you to find out and be very comfortable and confident knowing what your skin type is and what your skin concern is. Skin type and skin concern are different things, and we all have them. You just need to know what they are. If you don't know what they are, how on earth are you going to go down a skincare journey, like a skincare product route, a skin treatment route? How are you going to treat it properly when you don't know what they are? So you have to know. And don't panic if you don't. I'm going to give you a little bit of help. So me, for example, I am skin type combination. I'm dry on the cheeks. I'm oily on my T-zone. My skin concern, and I'm a really bad example because I have loads of skin concerns, but basically my skin concern is pigmentation, acne, I'd say aging now, which I didn't used to say for a few years, but yeah, let's be honest, it's aging. It's not normal for someone to have that many, or maybe it is, but anyway, I have a few. Some examples of what other ones could be. You could be skin type dry, skin concern, aging. You could be skin type dry, skin concern, eczema and dermatitis. You could be skin type oily, skin concern, pigmentation, and texture. You could be skin type combination, skin concern, acne. So have a think of what you are. The usual skin types is dry, oily, combination. Your skin concerns are anything from like pigmentation, texture, aging, acne, rosacea, eczema, dermatitis. There's quite a lot. Have a little research. But once you've classed which two you are, then you can build on your skincare regime and you can build on your skin treatments so that they work with both of them. When you've got an understanding of both of them, it flows a little bit better. And this is where I bring on my other key takeaway. If you really don't know how to diagnose both of them for yourself, what you could do is it's worth going to visit a skin doctor, just a one-off appointment as a bit of an analysis. And I don't mean, and this is no disrespect, but I don't mean just go to the lady who does dermaplaning over at the nail bar. Like, see somebody properly and get them to do a full analysis. They might even do a few tests on you. So basically, with myself, I'm going back to acne. I feel like I always revert everything back to acne. I've been using something called Tret for ages for my acne. And you know what? 10 out of 10. It's cleared it. When I had my second child, my acne erupted bad again. It actually cleared when I had my first, and then I went through quite a good stage. Anyway, long story short, it erupted really bad. I started going on Tret. Its proper name is like tretinoin. I pronounce everything wrong. That's one thing you'll notice in this pod. My pronunciation is just like, woo. Anyway, I call it Tret. It has absolutely cleared my acne and I could not be happier. I had it all here on my jaw, but the percentage of it is strong to actually fight the acne, but it has weakened my skin barrier, and now my skin barrier is wrecked. So I saw a skin doctor and we was gonna go on a pigmentation journey because I am pigmented to hell. Honestly, I have a band. I have melasma. That's another skin concern that I didn't mention before, but melasma is pretty bad skin concern. Melasma, and that's different to sunspots and hyperpigmentation and pigmentation, but honestly will unlock all of this, so do not worry. I am holding your hand. Anyway, this little skin test that she did on me, showing how weak my barrier was and that I cannot go down any of the treatments anymore. I can't be having any more microneedling. I can't be having peels because my barrier is wrecked. So I'm on a repair journey. So it's really important you get some professional advice on where you're up to with your skin. And once you've got that knowledge, you've got that base then, and then you can move forward. Now, not everybody needs to do that. You might be a really simple case. Some people out there have skin type normal. Oh my God, you lucky people. If you have normal skin type, I am so jealous. Skin concern, questionable. Don't really have any concerns. Maybe your skin concern is that it's just a little bit dull and you want to get a glow. Amazing. You'd probably work really well with like some little glycolic acid peels, little lactic acid, nice glow boosting. Perfect. This is the thing. It's figuring out what you are. But that's the little bit of homework that I want to ask you to do. I mean, it's not bad homework, is it? It's quite fun. And once you've figured that out, we can go through this journey together. But yes, I'm going to bring some of the best guests on. And that is my promise, because I've said a million times during this episode, but honestly, I am so excited to let everybody just learn. We are going to learn. We're going to learn everything. You know, it's hidden in the knowledge of GPs and dermatologists and trichologists and everyone who has got a really good education on skincare and hair loss and beauty. We are going to learn it together, and that is my promise. Thank you for tuning into the first episode of Parlor. I am so excited to launch this. It has been an idea for so long, and I am more than happy to discuss real life cases on this podcast. All you have to do is drop myself a DM on Instagram. I am at by Emma Willett. Willett is WILLOTT. Or you can send one to Parlor Beauty, which is parlorbeauty.co.uk. Parlor is spelled PARLOR. Inboxes are always open. It'll be just really good to like generate some of the feedback that you've got, some of the problems that you're worrying about. We've got so many experts we're going to have on this show that we can ask your questions direct. They can answer you. They can help you. We are basically just here to help. So yeah, don't be shy to send a message. I'm really friendly. I'm super, super friendly. DMs are always open. If I've not replied straight away, it's because I've got two crazy young kids. But, you know, I always read everything. So I will come back to you. Thank you very much for tuning in, and see you again soon.